So you can't fake quality and you can't fake belief. Why is this important as an entrepreneur? That's what we're going to talk about today. It's the quality that you're offering that is way more important than the thing itself. And when I say we, that's because Peter is back on the show.
Hey-o. Thanks for having me back.
Welcome to the show, babe.
Appreciate it.
So here's the deal, you guys. I just moved to Arizona. We just moved to Arizona. And when you move, you have to find all new services, right?
New everything.
New everything. And that for me is sometimes the hardest part. So I was trying out a new person for my hair, not the last girl that I just saw. She's amazing. But I went to someone for the very first appointment. And I knew just pulling up to the salon, I was like, ooh, I don't have the best feeling about this. You know how sometimes you can just tell, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that sometimes judges something from the outside, judge a book by its cover.
And I would say to that really quick, like that's absolutely true. When you are having a product or a service or providing something, one of the biggest things is those first impressions. Yep. And if you lost your people right at the front, then guess what? So many times the experience doesn't go well.
I don't know why. It wasn't like a terrible place. It was just maybe the location, and then it was in like this strip mall, and I was like, ooh, I don't know.
Some of the vibes that they gave off right when you walked in the door, all of that.
But I was like, you know what? I'm going to try. So I went in, I sat down in the chair, started telling her about my hair, and she supposedly was familiar with extensions and the kind of extensions that I have. And right away, when she started just looking at my hair, I could tell. I was like, oh no. Like, I don't think she knows totally what she's doing. Have you guys been there? Tell me, if you get like beauty treatments done, you can always tell within just like a minute or two if people know what they're doing. But again, I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. Like,
not just beauty treatments.
Maybe I am assuming things. So whatever, gave her a shot. It ended up being terrible. It ended up being so bad that I took those, well, Peter took out my extensions for me just like a day later.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and I went and found someone else who's amazing and totally put them back in. Shout out to Brittany in Gilbert. You guys have to go see her if you do, because she's amazing.
That process was like double the time, so it took a long time.
It took 5 hours. It took a tremendous amount of time. It was very slow. It was very tedious, and the way she put them back in was completely wrong. And by the next day, they were already coming out. And I was like, whoa. This is so bad. And it felt so bad on my head that I was like, I literally have to get these off. But the whole point of this story is when I was getting ready to like walk out finally, I was supposedly done. She kept walking around trying to like fluff up my hair, trying to like back comb some more and like fluff it up and like make sure she could brush it all in the right way that it was correctly supposed to lay, blah, 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 blah. And I'm someone that I'm like, look, if the hair is done right, you shouldn't need to keep fluffing it and keep trying to like make sure every piece lays exactly as you want it to for it to look good. And it felt like she was trying to make it look better than it was, right? By like, oh, let me just keep fluffing some more. Oh, let me just keep backcombing some more. Or let me just make sure like this, like don't move when you walk out of here because I finally have it looking perfect. And if you move, it's not going to look good, right? Like that type of thing. I don't know if you guys have had that with your hair appointment. And I now know, because it's happened to me a couple of times, if someone has to do that, it's like they're faking their work. It's literally, in my mind, I'm like, your work should be able to stand on its own 2 feet. Like I should be able to walk out of here without having to have back comb my whole head and feel amazing.
And I think taking it out from the context of hair and appointments and different things like that, and just business and life in general, if you have to make excuses for what you've done, if you have to always have, there's some non-negotiables, which I'd say like we all have to have really quality work, really quality stuff that we're presenting. And whether that's, regardless of what you're doing, the thing itself, you can't fake the end result based off of excuses or trying to do different things. Unfortunately, like I see that happen in business all the time, where business owners are not actually treating their business like a real business. They're not treating it like they're actually dialed in on what they're doing, which goes back to the belief. part of belief, and many of you listening in will say, oh my gosh, I believe in my business like nobody else. I do all of this stuff. Okay, what does that mean? Let's take that a few steps down the road. Have you put in the work? Have you really put in the work? Do you actually believe in not just the product or the company or what other people have told you? Have you researched that for yourself? Have you tried out different things in your business to figure out, okay, where do I really want this to go for myself? Not just I'm providing a product. How do I differentiate from the other people out there who are doing the same thing? Why would someone come to me for that?
And this is so important because I think when we feel the need to have to dress something up or make it look better than it is, that's when you don't attract customers to keep coming back to you.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to do when you're network marketing, in the sense that you step into network marketing and you're brand new to business and you don't know what you're doing, and you're given a product and you're given a price and you're told sell it for this price and people will buy it from you because the product is amazing. And for a while, that works. For a while, you can rely on the value of the product to match why people should pay that. However, if you stay there just relying on this awesome product to be why people can pay you money for this, you will lose customers and you will not attract new ones. You won't attract referrals, right? People won't be giving your name out because it's like, well, why can't I just go buy this from the store? Why should I be paying you for this as opposed to going to the store? You don't realize this, but people are constantly questioning your value. They're not questioning the product's value. Mm-hmm. So I always teach people, I could teach my clients, if you're getting price objections, it's not because of the product. It's because they don't see the value in you. And so we were making a list of like, how do you stand out with quality work? Well, how does someone know? How did I instinctively know just being in the chair? Like, oh crap, this isn't going to be that great. And we all do this. We all know when we walk into a place, oh crap, or oh yeah, they know what they're doing.
There's ways that people, businesses, organizations, whatever, put you at ease as the end user, just seconds in to the experience. This actually brings up something for me. This happened in the last few days. We were trying out a new house cleaner for a couple of days, just a couple of days that we didn't have covered. Trying out this lady. She was really personable. She was awesome, but there was things that were missing. We'd go through and we'd show her, hey, we'd like this done this way, this thing done that way, a few specific details, and those all got missed. How you load the dishes in the dishwasher. Well, guess what? Half of them weren't clean. And all of these other things. And I'm thinking to myself, you're a house cleaner, but I'm having to explain to you how to do all these things that are really, really basic and fundamental. I'm sorry, we're probably not the best fit. Now, that's me, and that's us. We've got some pretty high expectations, but that's the kind of person that you want to attract. If you're only wanting to attract someone who's like, yeah, sure, go and fluff some stuff up and move some things around, great, go do that. But if you're trying to attract a high-end client that looks for quality, that wants a distinguisher, a differentiator, you can't fake that.
And you want high-end clients because they're willing to pay
absolutely
good prices for good quality, but you don't attract them when you rely on your product to be why they should buy from you rather than you having value to offer and contribute to them.
Yeah. There's this pretty famous football coach who gave an awesome quote. He said there's two different types of athletes who play football. There's the athletes who love the game of football. And then there's the athletes who love what the game of football gives to them. And that really stood out to me in this understanding, in this context, because there's business owners who really, really love their business. And then there's business owners who really, really love what the benefits or the advantages or features that their business gives to them. That goes back to the belief. That goes back to those extra little details that differentiate you from average to great to exceptional. And you can't skip those over. Those are basic.
So walk me through that analogy and tell me which one you're supposed to be. I'm not totally sure I'm tracking.
So if you love what it gives you and you stay there, that's why, okay, you get a big payday and guess what? You don't show up to practice and you start getting sloppy. We've all seen those stories of people who won the lottery, people who got paid $100 million because they're a world famous athlete. And guess what? They stopped showing up and their heart was gone. As an example of somebody who loved what it gave them, but they didn't actually believe it themselves. In that analogy, they weren't the football player who loved football. So for me, that really, really goes back to, I mean, one of the biggest fundamentals is, do I know what I'm doing well enough so I can teach it to somebody else? That's one of the barometers for me early on in business. I had to teach a lot of people, a lot of other team members that were new on our team. And that was actually one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I had to know what I was doing well enough to imbue them, like let my passion and my enthusiasm cross over. And also I had to know my stuff.
Yeah. So tip number 1, start teaching what you do to someone else. Even if it's like you haven't signed a business builder, right? Or a team builder, start acting like you already have one. Show up every day and practice in your house, right? Acting like you're getting someone started, because the way to become an expert at what you do is to teach it to someone else. And then I would say step number 2 is think about, do I love my business for what it gives me, or do I genuinely love my business? As a network marketer, it's very easy to love your business because of what it gives you. Because you're like, oh, I love the product and I love that it gives me money. I love that it gives me time with my kids. Awesome. Go deeper with that. Go deeper beyond just offering a product. And I talked about this last week on Instagram when I told people, don't think about what you want to sell people. Think about how you want to grow as a person over the next month, 3 months, 6 months, and build something, some sort of offer that can include your product that you are inviting people to work with you in. 1, this differentiates you from everybody else. And 2, you become excited about it because you're like, oh my gosh, I actually want this thing for myself. And then 3, you can charge people and they're going to see more value attached to it because they're getting something so much more beyond a product. Here's the caveat. When you're in network marketing, it's super easy to look at what everybody else in your network marketing is coming up with as an offer with the product, and then you do the same thing as everybody else. So here's what I would do instead. Make a list of how you would like to grow financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically,
in your
relationally. Yeah. Any area of your life that you show up in, make a list of things that you would like to grow in, and then say, what could I invite into my life over the next 30 days to help me grow in this? Is there a book I could read? Is there a Bible study I could do? Is there a financial class, right, that I could learn about or take?
A group, a mastermind I can join, something where you can get outside the box and push yourself.
Or create your own. Create your own group. That's what the best offers are, created around what you want for yourself. And then you say, I'm going to put together a group that's focusing on growing with this. And when people opt in, they buy my product. And they pay a fee on top of it to be part of the group, to be learning these other things. And this is how I'm going to structure the next 30 days. It's based with a bigger picture in mind beyond let's just use a product.
And that's where you can take this to the next level. If you're not in network marketing or it doesn't exactly apply to you, that's great. How are you showing up as an employee? Is that just a job where you're doing the bare minimum? Or are you looking for ways to differentiate yourself and be exceptional? Are you looking for ways to show up in a big way and build the team up? Are you a net positive when you walk in the room or when you make suggestions and you bring your energy to the team? Are you building each other up?
I would also say you need to be a customer yourself. The best people that are awesome at what they do, it's because they know what it's like to be on the customer side. They know what it's like to be on that side of the chair, and they pay attention to the little details that really do add up. Like the little details that tell someone, oh, this person knows what they're doing, as opposed to, oh gosh, I think I'm in for it.
Another point that was really critical for me is as you go deeper, as you do some of that work on yourself, you'll start bumping into some of those self-limiting beliefs. well, I'm actually not worth this much per hour. Or then you start getting into beliefs about money or lifestyle or enjoyment or whatever the scenario is. Unfortunately, or actually fortunately, it goes both ways. You're always selling. You're always presenting yourself, regardless of what you're doing. You're always showing up with the opportunity to be a blessing, to give to your team, to the people that you're there. And a lot of times those self-limiting beliefs keep you stuck. And then next thing you know, you don't actually really believe it. And that shows up in how you're living your life and in your business.
We're going to take a quick minute to interrupt this episode because I want to tell you guys about my brand new Instagram Sisterhood that's opening up for 2021. This is going to be a 6-month container that's specifically structured around giving women a safe space to be vulnerable, to grow, and to get themselves outside their comfort zone with unique experiences that are going to be in person and via a group coaching call for those 4 months. There's even going to be a fun little subscription box included, and there are limited spots. So we're going to officially open the doors for this group November 30th. But if you would like to get on my VIP list so that you can get in, make sure you get a spot before these are gone, and even maybe get some fun bonuses, text me at 303-529-2350. Text me the word sisterhood to 303-529-2350 so you can be sure to snag a spot before they're gone. Because community is what has really changed the game for me this year. And if you're ready to have a tribe of women that are getting it, they get the fact that you want to grow, that you're driven, that you want more to life, and you want to be able to really dive deep into working on yourself, then this is the group for you.
Honey, that sounds really awesome. I know you're excited about that. We've been talking about that a bunch. What was that number again?
303-529-2350. Text me sisterhood.
Awesome.
All right, back to the episode. Back to adding value and not just relying on your product for the value.
A couple of last things that I'd say real quick, going back to the belief. If you don't believe it, other people won't believe it. And so kind of what I've found is if I was stuck in some self-limiting beliefs, if I was stuck in that zone of I didn't know exactly what I was doing, I didn't know the answer to something, that was a self-limiting belief. Something else, I was told this early on, fake it till you make it. Okay, so that actually doesn't totally work because if you fake it till you make it, there's people who don't necessarily know that, but they feel it. They feel something's not right, and it's a subconscious emotion that comes across. So one of the best tools that you can actually have is transparent honesty, real transparent, vulnerable honesty, because that actually attracts the people that you want. And then as you up level, sometimes those people aren't your tribe anymore. Maybe you attract them early on, and then as you grow and as you change and as you become a higher version of you, you work through some of those shadows, the shadow complex, and you become a much, much fuller, complete version of you. Sometimes those people don't attract to you anymore and you attract a different tribe, and that's okay. But it starts off with that authentic, real honesty about where you're at. And that fake it till you make it that everybody told me early on, that was dangerous advice.
Well, and I want to throw in a caveat here because it's going to feel uncomfortable when you start giving people a price to pay you. And so many people struggle with even asking for that price in the first place and feeling like they don't have the worth or the value there. And that's where I wanted to say, remember, if you're showing up with a product or service and you're new to it, relying on the value of that product works for a while. So it does work in the beginning, and that will warm you up. And also, when you're saying be transparent, that does not mean you're walking up to people and being like, do you want to work with me? I've never actually worked with anyone before, but I'm really going to work hard at this and I really want to work with you. No. That is not what we mean by transparency. Yeah. What would you tell them you meant by that?
I would say, first and foremost, you have that belief in yourself. You've done some work. You don't just show up and learn something for 30 minutes and then go start talking to people about it. You need to go the extra mile. you absolutely want to choose to go the extra mile and learn a whole lot more about that than just the bare minimum. So do some work there. And then obviously, a lot of times, whether it's network marketing or you're doing something new, you go and talk to your friends and family. You want to be careful with that because they're used to you going and talking to your friends and family. And it's like, hey, would you be the guinea pig who does this? Well, that actually is not always the best thing. Sometimes the best thing is you want to allow your friends to give you honest feedback. So sometimes when I was working on learning a new specific way of approaching a subject or talking about something, or it was a new idea that I learned, some of the best stuff that I was able to do was talking that through with somebody else and having their honest feedback. Instead of me going and selling them or signing them up right away, you explore that, hey, I have a process that I want to walk through with you, and I'm learning that. And would you be open to giving me some honest feedback and telling me where I'm at with that?
Practice and feedback is so big. And then I also tell my clients, if you're new to something, to an offer that you're creating, go get beta clients is what you can call it, or do a beta group is what I call it. And I tell people, or I tell my clients, tell them, hey, I'd really like to work with you. I have this offer. And because I have 3 beta spots open, right, or whatever it is, you're going to get this at a discounted price in exchange for a testimonial from you. So that way you're being transparent. You're being honest in the fact that you're saying, this is a beta group, AKA my practice group, right? You're still going to ask them to pay. You're still going to have them pay something, and they're going to give you a testimonial in exchange. And so once my clients do that, they get their first 3 beta clients under their belt or a beta group under their belt, their confidence goes way up in being able to charge a better price and approach people and say they can truly help them, because now they have practice. They've been practicing their skills. Yeah. They've gotten some of that under their belt, and they feel more confident in what they're bringing to the table.
I saw you early on. Sometimes you exchange services with people. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you said, hey, you know what? I'm really excited about what you're doing. I want to try that out. And would you be open to trying out my thing too? And you're actually able to kind of the earlier stages be able to exchange some of that. Be careful with that, because you want to also know your own value. You don't want to stay in that spot for forever. Sometimes that's a first initial step to say, hey, I got something done today. I was able to get something happening, but very quickly you want to be an actual real legit business owner who believes in what they're doing and providing a quality service that stands on its own without the self-limiting beliefs or poor quality attached to it.
And then the last thing I would share is to get a mentor. Go invest in yourself as far as your education, AKA your knowledge and learning goes. And that does not mean a class. That means a person that can speak into your life and help you to grow as a person. Mm-hmm. Because when you grow as a person, that automatically increases your value. I think back to this hairstylist, if she had invested in a mentor that would sit there and help her and check her work and give her tips and say, oh, what about this? What about that? She automatically would increase her value and have more raving fans, more people wanting to come to her, paying her more, because you have that person that can look into it, that can say, hey, I've been down this road. Let me point into you. And I know for myself, I've worked with 2 coaches this year, and it's also reflected hugely in my business. I'm giving people value that I never would have had otherwise if I hadn't have worked with these coaches, because I get to watch them coach me, which allows me to learn, and I'm growing at the same time.
And I saw you up-level your reference group this last year too. You joined a mastermind, and it was a scary step. Like, this is a big investment. I don't know. And there was part of that where you were stepping up to the plate going, oh, wow, this is really scary. And that plus getting a coach almost forced you to get out of your comfort zone and say, I'm all in on me. I'm all in on doing this. I'm making the commitments to make awesome happen. I'm not going to sit in the fence. We feel people sitting on the fence based on they haven't done the work. They haven't gone all in on themselves. They haven't truly actually said, I'm dedicated, I'm excited, I'm going all in.
So if you guys loved this episode, that's our tips today to help you up your own value so that you don't have to fake quality, because when you're bringing so much value to the table in addition to your product, that's when you create raving fans. That's when you get referrals out the wazoo. And that's when people really want to keep coming to you instead of you having to hunt people. And that just feels way better as an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
So take a screenshot of this episode, share it out on your social media, tag us in your stories, tell us what you loved about this episode and how it helped you. And if you want any feedback or ideas on like, hey, how do I create an offer around my product instead of just offering my product? Ask us. We're totally happy to give ideas. All right, everybody go have an awesome day. Thanks for listening in.